In Pit Lane is brought to you by NHRA Racing. Support Nick Shembry in his campaign to the 2019 British Supercar Grand Prix. Be a part of the future. And with thanks to the following show supporters. And welcome to another edition of In Pit Lane. I hope that you've managed to survive your Grand Prix weekend. It was a big weekend. I mean, let's face it, if you were like me, you did sort of, it was a massive weekend. 1,000 miles at Sebring, then 12 hours of Sebring. Also, we had, of course, the Grand Prix itself, a couple of supercar races. Oh, is it any wonder that I'm absolutely buggered? But anyway, for you at home, we're going to wrap up a lot of that a little bit later on in the program. Also joining us a little bit later on for two songs will be local singer-songwriter Rachel Clark, and we'll be telling you about where you can see Rachel live in just a moment. Also joining us will be the man behind the new Thundersports category, part of the AASA Australian Motor Racing Series up at Winton and Wakefield Park and those sort of places. That's John Rosewski. He will be joining us in a moment. But right now, big weekend in motorsport. Let's check out as much as we had time to fit it in. This is the In Pit Lane Motorsport News. No more Mr. Nice Guy. That's the message from Dan Ricciardo after his disappointing Renault debut at Albert Park. The crowd favourites race ended early after damage to his car at the start of Sunday's Grand Prix. The likeable Aussie said after the race that he felt he'd placed too much pressure on himself at his home Grand Prix and that he'd tried to please too many people. Trying to please everyone this week and I don't look after myself, so we'll change it for next year, he said. Mercedes dominated the race, but it wasn't pole sitter Lewis Hamilton who took the checkered flag. Teammate Valtteri Bottas drove the race of his life to grab the lead into turn one before going on to lead all the way and gaining a bonus point for fastest lap in a Mercedes 1-2. To further frustrate Dan Ricciardo, his old Red Bull teammate Max Verstappen gave Honda their first Formula One podium in 11 years with third place. Jazz Mostert continued the Mustang stampede in Australian Supercars with an overall victory in the Melbourne 400. A bizarre crash on the warm-up lap of the fifth race between Scott McLaughlin and Cam Waters finally ended the Kiwi driver's domination of the series, and although he won 5 out of the 6 races, it was race 5 winner Mostert that took out the Larry Perkins Trophy. Fernando Alonso is one step closer to another world title with victory in the Sebring 1000, the latest round of the World Endurance Championship. To no one's surprise, the Toyota TS050 of Alonso, Sebastian Buemi and Kazuki Nakajima dominated the race. LMP2 saw a win to the Jackie Chan DC Racing Orica 07, which finished in 4th outright. Porsche took the win in both GT classes, with Australia's Matt Campbell co-driving the Dempsey Proton Racing 911 to a win in the GTE AM class. The new 1,000-mile race was held on the eve of the traditional 12-hour IMSA-sanctioned race, which was won by Cadillac. Congratulations to Kyle Busch, who's taken out his 200th NASCAR victory with a win in Fontana. Busch won all 3 stages of the race to lead home the Mustangs of Joey Logano and Brad Keselowski. And Australian driver Richie Crampton has returned to the winner's circle, taking out top fuel at the NHRA Gator Nationals in Florida. Crampton defeated Clay Millican in a close final to take the whole shot win. Robert Hight beat Tim Wilkerson to win in Funny Car. Bo Butner drove his Camaro to victory in Pro Stock with a win over Alex Lachlan, and Alex Hines had his first win in over a year, beating Eddie Krawick in Pro Stock Bike. The next stage in the evolution of S5000 has arrived from the USA. The Gary Rogers Motorsport team have placed a dedicated crew into the building of the first batch of on-road Ligier chassis at its Melbourne workshop.
We've had this first car for some time. We've been doing it quite a considerable amount of testing, alterations, modifications to get to the next stage. we've got the first lot of tubs have arrived from the US from on-road. So we will be assembling those vehicles now after having done the successful testing on the original car, and then go on with our next lot of tubs that arrive from the US. Interest in this category is enormous. I mean, we get calls daily about when will we have these cars ready for sale. Everyone will relate back to the old 5,000 days. Well, this is a much safer version of that great racing category of that era.
Yeah, very much looking forward to S5000. Hope that takes off. Now, we're going to be joined, take us out. We've got two songs tonight from our musical guest here on In Pit Lane tonight. Rachel Clark is a Melbourne singer-songwriter, and she is playing. If you're watching us on our live stream on Facebook or YouTube, then you can see her tomorrow night. She's playing at Lentil As Anything. That's in Thornbury tomorrow night. She's also on Sunday, the 7th of April, for all our Channel 31 listeners and viewers, at the B East Bar. Yes, that's how it's pronounced, B East in Brunswick East. But right now she is going to take us out to the first break, and she's going to take us out with her song Memory Lane. Ladies and gentlemen, Rachel Clark.
Constantly I stumble down a road called memory lane, and as the pebbles cut my feet, black dogs giving chase. Do you mind if I lay my bags down? 'Cause they're full of empty promises that I've carried around. The road is paved with graves of ghosts and things I've tried to bury, but as they rise beneath my feet, this heart starts feeling heavy. Do you mind if I lay my bags down? 'Cause they're full of empty promises that I've carried around. An apparition of regret presents himself in flesh. I listen as he cried for me the things we'd left unsaid. Do you mind if I lay my bags down? 'Cause they're full of empty promises that I've carried around. They're full of empty promises that I've carried around.
Rachel Clark there, she'll be taking us out at the end of the program. Thank you, Rachel, for that. And as I said, if you're watching us, now we're on a break from Channel 31. If you're watching us live on Facebook and the YouTube channel and you're here in Melbourne, she will be playing tomorrow night, that's Wednesday, at Lentil As Anything. So Rachel will be joining us a little bit. So thank you, Rachel, and we'll be catching up with her a little bit later on in the program. Now, for all of you watching at home, over the weekend you might have realised that on the Facebook page that we did a live stream from from the Motorsports fan zone down at Crown. It was a fascinating little exercise, and it was technically it was all very interesting. We had a lot of fun down there, and a lot of people came up and said hello, so that was really great. We were joined by Nick Shembry, and Nick is you might remember Nick came on the program last year with his had the kart in the studio, the supercart. Nick is heading over to England for the British Supercar Grand Prix coming up in the middle of the year, and of course, like most young racing drivers, he's looking for support and sponsorship. Has some good sponsorship at the moment, but there are still some sponsorship packages available, and so we'll give him a plug on the program. If you're interested, you can go to his Facebook page. All the details are there, or you can contact us at In Pit Lane and we'll pass those details on to you. But for an Australian company, if you want to get sort of, if you've got product overseas, the British Supercar Grand Prix is sort of the de facto world championship of supercars. It's the big one-off event of the year. So check that out around June, I think that he'll be going over there, and Nick will be there. We'll have Nick on later on in the year as well to talk about it. But thanks to Nick and thanks to his father Troy from the Motorsports fan zone, who is responsible for getting us back on air for this particular series of In Pit Lane. So I think we're just about ready to head back. If Rachel, if you'd like to take a seat or something rather than stand there get yourself comfortable. And we will come back to our friends at Channel 31 in just a moment. Remember, by the way, if you're watching online, do remember that the yes, you can watch the channel. The YouTube channel is there now. You have wonderful close-ups like that. We're also YouTube channel, also Facebook, but YouTube much better quality. Watch that. So okay, Peter.
30 seconds. 15 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
Welcome back to In Pit Lane here on Channel 31, right across Melbourne and Geelong. Well, a couple of weeks ago when we were down at Phillip Island for the Historic Classic up at Winton, they were having the first round of their Australian Motor Racing Series. And there was, amongst all the regular categories, was a brand new category. Attracted quite a good entry as well, especially for a first-off event. It was called Thundersports. The thing is, what is in fact Thundersports, and more importantly, why? Let's find out. The man behind Thundersports is with us tonight, John Rosevsky. John, welcome to In Pit Lane.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Okay, so what is Thundersports?
Well, Thundersports is a category that we've put together for grassroots races. The idea behind it is to try and offer those grassroots competitors a professional style of motorsport event for them to compete in. The rulebook's quite open, and the idea is that everyone's at the track, great camaraderie, having loads and loads of fun, tight, close racing, big, powerful wild cars. All the combinations of a great event.
So when you say big, powerful wide cars, I mean in terms of, we've got traditional sports sedans,
yep.
But what can people do in Thundersports that they can't do in sports sedans? I mean, I think of, like there's a lot of latitude in sports sedans.
Yeah, that's right.
How much more latitude is there in what you're doing?
Well, we're a new category. We're different. We're not sports sedans, although sports sedans, improved production cars and even time attack cars can come and play. Essentially, the rulebook allows for a little bit more width than what you can have in sports sedans, and that's to accommodate the time attack cars, perhaps in the open class, that are allowed to go a little bit wider, and also have slightly wilder bodywork than what you're allowed to in under CAMS 3Ds.
Because when you were advertising, I mean, people put up those photos of like Group 5 Zac Speed Capris and all sorts of wonderful Super GT cars.
Yep.
Is there anything, if someone is rich enough and silly enough to sort of drag along, if I could find an old Super GT car from a couple of years back and bring it to Australia, could I run it with you guys?
Yeah, absolutely, definitely. We're just all about, again, those big wild cars, stuff that kind of, I suppose, paved the way for the cars that we have now, and were really the things that sort of started the ideas of time attack cars, and the wild wings, the big wild bodies with the aero. Open splitters and all that sort of stuff.
So if somebody is interested in becoming a part of this, I mean, you said, sports sedans, and we have so many categories in Australia. I mean, why do we really need another one? I mean, surely if we've got, one of the things, the arguments I hear against categories like this is that, we have rules, we have regulations. why don't people just build a car to those set of regulations rather than people going off building a car to whatever they do and then saying, hey, find me somewhere to race?
Well, you know what, we're not actually asking people to build different cars. We're offering them somewhere else where they can also race their car outside of their current championships if they want to. So that none of our rounds this year conflicts with anything that the sports, the state racer is doing in Victoria, and in fact not even with, I believe, any of the national rounds. So you know, anyone that's running improved production, for example, is welcome to continue to do what they're doing, and if they want extra track time, a bit of door-to-door racing, they can come play in Thundersports as well. And again, what we're offering them is an opportunity to race, I suppose, with perhaps better exposure. We're really pushing our social media angle, and also trying to promote their sponsors, promote them, and it's, not everyone has to come. We're not asking everyone to come and play. In fact, it would be, would oversubscribe pretty quickly because there's a lot of race cars out there. But certainly anyone that wants to get some extra track time in is more than willing.
So how many cars did you have? It was a good turnout, wasn't it?
Yeah, 20 cars. 20 cars for round one, so we're really happy with that. I set myself a target of trying to get to 15 cars, and we exceeded that, so really excited about that.
How many rounds do you have, and where are they running at?
4 rounds. Round one was at Winton. Our round 2 will be at Tailem Bend, and that's in June. And then we have round 3 back at Winton and round 4 at Winton again with the AMRS.
Is that part of, you mentioned about having a more professional venue for people, grassroots racers to run. Is that part of the problem? Is that sort of something that you've tried to address, is the fact that we do have sort of grassroots racing at the state level, but like I'm going to get in trouble for this, but it is piss poorly promoted.
Your words, not mine. Look,
my words, and I'm sticking by it. It is a disgrace.
Look, I've had a vision of where this would be, and to give you a bit of background on how I sort of came to this is I'm a small business owner, and I race a car, and motorsport's expensive, even at grassroots level. It does cost quite a bit of money. So a great way to try and pull a few extra dollars together to get you the track is sponsorship. Now, as a small business owner, I couldn't hand on heart go to another small business owner and say, can you sponsor my car? I'll give you loads of exposure. So I thought, what about if I was to create something where that exposure existed for grassroots races? And in fact, a couple of our guys have already gone out and found sponsors for round one that's essentially covering their entry fees for the whole season. So I think with this vision of trying to get a bit more exposure out there for the guys, and also trying to bring a few other things to the event outside of motorsport. Now, there's still a lot of work to do, and it's very, very early days for us, but things that would perhaps attract people that may not come to the track necessarily, or partners of people that are interested in motorsport but would never come. My wife, for one.
We did the drifting just recently out of Calder Park, and they put on and it was only grassroots stuff, but they put on a hell of a show. There was lights, of course, which under lights it helped. But they had there were smoke machines, there were lasers, there were all sorts of things, and there was live music. They really put on a hell of a show, and that's sort of the thing that we need to do more of, isn't it?
Well, ultimately, I think it's a long day. It's a long weekend, in fact, when you go to a state level or even any sort of national level race meet. For us, it's a 3-day weekend, and it's a long time for you to hang around to race a few times over the weekend. And especially all of our friends and family and all the people that come to watch us, there's a lot of sitting around. So if we can, in the future, help to keep things interesting for them in between races, I think that's going to be key.
We've got to wrap this up now, but in terms of if people want to find out more about Thundersports, where do they go? Yeah,
check us out on Facebook on Thundersports Official, also on Instagram and the same Thundersports Official, and on our website as well.
Okay, well, good luck with it, but for now, John Rosesi, thanks for joining us in Pit Lane.
Cheers.
We're going to take a break now from Channel 31. We'll be back in just a moment. Don't go away, we'll be right back. Okay, thank you for that.
Pleasure.
There we are. So we're still live on there. So if people want to find out more about it, they can. The Facebook is the best place for it, is it?
Yeah, well, that's the one that we've been driving the most. But we've started to build the the other areas as well. We've started to get quite a strong following on Instagram, and also we've started to develop the website a bit more too now.
Yeah, I can't get it. We had Lewis Leeds on the program last week, and Lewis was saying, "Oh, you should, all the young Facebook and all that stuff is good. Instagram is. I still don't get Instagram. I still can't. No, I can't figure that out.
Yeah.
That one's beyond me. But anyway, good luck with it.
Thank you.
And thanks for coming in and for letting us know more about it.
Absolute pleasure.
Now, John was mentioning about sponsors. We're just pointing out, and I was saying to him just before the program that the only reason we are on, of course, for this season of In Pit Lane is because of the support of the Motorsports Fan Zone and NHRA Racing, and also the support of our supporting sponsors as well. And the reason we did the supporting sponsors thing was, look, it's not, we're not giving you sort of, acres and acres of coverage. It really is a way of you showing your support for this program. We've been on for 24 years now. We've been covering a wide gamut of motorsport. Nobody does what we do. I defy anybody to show me a program that would cover the sort of, everything from, the World Endurance Championship to Thundersports racing, and, a couple of live songs as well. Nobody does this sort of shit, folks, apart from us. And this is your way of showing us that, you would like to keep us around. Now, we have the support, thankfully, of the Motoring Diary, and we thank them. The Motoring Diary, I'll bring it in next week. Basically, it's old-fashioned technology, folks, for all of you sitting at home watching YouTube. Actually, the people who are watching YouTube are not the sort of people who are into old technology. But if you are, if your grandfather or your father is, it's an old-fashioned book. You want to find out what's on the weekend? You open a page. It's that simple. Try it, kiddies. You'll be amazed. So thank you to the Motoring Diary for their support, and also to the 2-litre Sports Sedan Club of Victoria. They got on board very early as well. And as we said, it's just a way, if you'd like to help out in any way, if your club or your business or anyone would like to be a part of it, it starts from as little as $25 a week. And as I've said before, if we could get 10 people to do it, that would probably keep us on air for the rest of the year. As it is now, the show on May the 30th will be the final edition of In Pit Lane. We say this all the time, but it's true, folks. We do not get the support that a lot of other programs get on Channel 31 and RMI TV, and quite frankly, getting a little sick of it, to be honest with you. Okay, so I hope you will support us. If you want to find out more about us, contact us at theshow@inpitlane.com or advertise@inpitlane.com, or ring us or do something. Put smoke signals, I don't know, just wander around, go to a pub in Dandenong somewhere, and you'll probably bump into me at some stage. Okay, we're going to come back on Channel 31, and I think we'll get Rachel, if we can have Rachel back in position to play us out. So now, how long have we got, Peter? After we've done the...
Motorsport Diary.
Yep, so we come back... Wrap up is 1:30. Okay, that'll give me time to just intro Rachel again, and we'll take it from there.
Wrap up. 7 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, we'll come back.
For the 7 minutes and 38 seconds for total.
Okay, so I've got more time than that. Okay, 7 minutes.
Hang on, I'll just check. So Heidi. And how long? So that's the whole segment.
We are now just checking on time, ladies and gentlemen. It's all about time.
So how long has he got to talk? How long's his talking time?
Talking time is professional. The talking time is what we call it.
38 seconds. They're ready to roll EVS.
Okay, roll EVS. We'll make it up as we go along.
What's on in motorsport, brought to you by the Motoring Diary, your must-have guide for all motoring enthusiasts. Coming up this week in motorsport, it's round 3 of the Victorian Hill Climb Championship at Mount Lura in Camperdown. Round 2 of the Victorian Motorcana Championships will be held this Sunday at Pakenham. The Lake Mountain Sprint will be held this weekend at where? Well, Lake Mountain, of course. The Porsche Club are holding a sprint meeting at Sandown, and lovers of classic American muscle will be delighted at the American Motoring Show on this Sunday at Acuna Park in Berwick. And that's just some of what's on in Melbourne this weekend. By the way, just quickly, that American Auto Show, the graphic was right, I was wrong with the voiceover. It is, in fact, Saturday, I believe. Saturday at Acuna Park in Berwick. If you want to go down to see all those American muscle cars down there, it'll be worth getting. John Radeski is still with us, and you were just saying, we mentioned sponsorship. You've got just a couple of new sponsors on board, and you wanted to mention that.
Absolutely. Thank you for the opportunity. I wanted to announce Prime Finance coming on as our gold sponsor for round 2. And they've also come on as a silver sponsor for the rest of the season, which means they'll be actually offering a hard charger award, which is specifically aimed at the basically the last half of the field in Class B, as a bit of an incentive for them to push hard across the weekend. So thank you to Prime Finance for coming on board.
Okay, well, it's always good to have sponsorship. As I was saying during the break, sponsorship is what keeps us on the air. It keeps us racing, and so I'll give another plug for those of you watching on Channel 31. We are, of course, still looking for sponsors for the next series of In Pit Lane. So if you're out there and you're into anything motoring related, please contact us. There you are. Advertise at inpitlane.com because basically this stuff, believe it or not, costs money. It's like motor racing; it does cost money. Now, if you're watching us on Channel 31 on Sunday the 7th of April, you can see our musical guest tonight, Rachel Clark. She's at B East in Brunswick East. She's also on Facebook at Rachel Clark Music. And tonight she's going to be taking us out from the program. We'll see you next week. So until then, from all of us here at In Pit Lane, ladies and gentlemen, Rachel Clark.
Yet all the cards in his hand, and what he folded early, I will never understand. He's a gambling man, nothing to lose. Oh, heaven help you. He bet his love on the wrong horse down the track. And that boy lost everything that he could have had. He's a gambling man, nothing to lose. Oh, heaven help you. He bet it all, and he bet it big. The same safe choices that he always picks. He's a gambling man, nothing to lose. Oh, heaven help you. Didn't use my money on wasting words misspent. That boy coming home, you see I'm not taking bets, 'cause he's a gambling man, nothing to lose. Heaven help you. Didn't use my money on wasting words misspent. That boy coming home, I said I'm not taking bets, 'cause he's a gambling man, nothing